Okay, we're in volume 8 of the Bible story. I got all 10. We are actually at part 2, story 12, Mrs. Zebedee's mistake. The Bible tells a good deal about the 12 disciples who followed Jesus, but it doesn't say much about their homes and families. We know that Peter was married, for his wife's mother once had a fever and Jesus healed her. But that is about all, except for Mrs. Zebedee, the mother of James. Oh, Zebedee, the mother of James and John. She was. She at last got her name in print, if none of the others did, and it's because of a dreadful mistake she made. Like all mothers, she was eager to see her children succeed. She wanted the best of her two precious boys, and and there was nothing wrong with that. When she heard that James and John were going about with the great teacher of Galilee, she was very glad, for she was sure he was a good man and would be a help to them. As thousands flocked to see him, and it seemed certain that he would become king of Israel someday, a bright idea came to her. Next time she found Jesus alone, she would whisper a word in his ear about her sons. Perhaps he hadn't noticed how very suitable they were to hold high position in his coming kingdom. They were already outstanding, much better qualified than the others, and he should know about it in good time. She changed. Her challenge came at last. Finding Jesus alone, she went up to him, with James and John looking a bit sheepish, no doubt, not far behind. Kneeling, she told Jesus how much she thought of him and his noble work, and how glad she was that he had chosen her two dear boys to be among his closest followers. She hoped they were giving him all the help they should, and then has a picture of Zebedee, or an artist representation. This is an illustration of what, if your mind didn't go there, this was just an illustration to see. Give it in your mind. Okay. Okay. All the help they should, and well, there was just one thing she would like to mention. What do you want? Asked Jesus kindly. Looking around to make sure no one was listening, she whispered eagerly, "Grant that these, my two sons, may sit at the one at thy right hand and the other at thy left, in thy kingdom." Jesus did not scold her. Perhaps he smiled at her, but there was a sadness in his smile. He could see she did not, he could see she did not in the least understand his kingdom, nor what it was going it was going to cost those who believed in it. Turning to James and John, he asked them ought whether they thought they could share his fortune, whatever it might be. Oh yes, they said eagerly, we are able. You shall, said Jesus, but to sit on my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared of my Father. A little later, the whole story reached the ears of his other disciples. How, we don't know, but the best kept secret had a way of getting out. The 10 were angry. To think that Mrs. Zebedee would do a thing like this. They muttered at each other, pushing her own children. That what it was, turning to trying to cut the rest out. And they had worked as hard or harder to set up the master's kingdom. Jesus knew what was going on. They couldn't have hidden their ugly thoughts from him if they had tried. So he called them to him and told them that it was time they all understood they were work what kind of kingdom they were working for. In worldly kingdoms, he reminded them, rulers lord rulers lord it over people, with big men bossing little men and demanding obedience. But this was not his way. In his kingdom, love, and love alone, ruled. Love was the key to proclamation, and the chief offices were for those who serve most humbly and unselfishly. Sorry. Whosoever will be great among you, let him be your master, be your minister. Yeah, minister, he said. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man come not to be minister, came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. Sorry. Though many had forgotten what he said that day, this is still the way his kingdom is run and will be through all eternity. And then it has Jesus talking to the 12, telling them, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, they're all 12. In this picture, there's all 12. And of course, this one is supposed to be Peter. And of course, this is the representation of Jesus, according to the artist. Okay, and that was the end of part 2, story 12. So we're going to break, and then we'll finish this out. The story's out anyway, especially part 2 anyway. See you in a minute.